What's up, guys? We just got a brand new bike, and all I'm gonna say right now about it is it's really unique. This is the NIU XQI3, and as I mentioned in the intro, it is a very unique bike, and this specifically has one party trick, and that is that it actually comes with a real motor vehicle VIN and actual legal paperwork documents so that you can go and register this bike. That's something that most other e-moto models just can't do. So that's kind of the one really big reason to purchase this bike. And then the rest of it, we're gonna go over in depth today. We're gonna do a top speed run, we're gonna weigh the bike, we're gonna ride it off-road and on-road, and we're gonna compare it to some other e-moto models. I think that this bike is gonna be for a different kind of rider than a lot of the other e-moto models like the Talaria Sting and the Eride Pro that we review. It's gonna be for a different type of rider than those kind of bikes, because you've got some different features on here, so this review is about to get interesting. This is a Talaria Sting MX5 Pro, and we GPS tested the top speed at 60 miles an hour. Now I think this bike is faster than this bike, but we're gonna have to test it and see in a minute. This is the Talaria XXX, and I think it's a lot closer match for top speed in comparison to the NIU. We tested the XXX at 49 miles per hour GPS. Let's go see how fast this NIU goes. All right, guys, as you can see, we got our GPS cycling computer. We're at 99% battery on our display, and we gotta test this top speed. And as I accelerate, I gotta announce that when we hit 50,000 subscribers, we're at about 44,000 right now, we're gonna give away another e-moto. We've already given away a Talaria MX5 and an Eride 3.0. So you guys should comment down below what you want given away next. And it might just happen, because as soon as we hit 50,000, we're gonna be giving it away. All right, let's see how fast we went. I haven't looked yet. I got my GPS in my pocket. Let's check it out. Okay, we got 45.7 miles an hour. I'll put that up on screen so you guys can see it. It's a little underwhelming, to be honest. We've been testing a lot faster bikes recently, and most of the other models that come out on the market are faster than this one. So it just kind of is what it is. With that, I did feel a RPM limit. So even if you were going down a steep hill, it wouldn't want to go any faster than it did right here. I held it at that limit where it just felt like it wouldn't go any faster for a long time to get this number, just to make sure it was accurate. The next thing that is really important for these e-motos is weight. So we gotta find out how much the NIU weighs. Weight's important because we want a good power to weight ratio. We want the bike to feel nimble and agile and light and also well balanced. And some of that is gonna come down to later on in the video when we actually ride the bike and kind of see how the weight feels. But first off, NIU quotes the weight at 67 kilograms or 167.5 pounds. Let's see what it weighs on our hanging scale. This is what we weigh all our bikes with. 171 pounds even. So we're not too far off. We're about 4 pounds over what they say on the spec sheet, which isn't too bad. To be honest, it's not amazing. There are other bikes like the Eride Pro SS 2.0 that has more power than this, a bigger battery than this, and it's still substantially lighter weight. This is pushing the weight a little bit compared to like an Eride Pro SR at 180 pounds. That bike has quadruple the power and a significantly larger battery. This is still heavier than an Eride Pro SS 3.0 that has more than double the power and also a much larger battery. It is very, very, very common for all these e-moto brands to exaggerate a little bit on the weight, and they almost always come out heavier. So it's not great in the weight department. I think there really is a lot going on in this bike that we're about to show you. So it's up to you whether you guys think the weight is worth it or not. All right, it is time to go over the specs of the NIU XQI3. So this bike comes in a price point of $4,000. It is on sale from $5,000. I don't think it's ever gonna go back to $5,000 because it really isn't able to compete with the other models that are about $5,000. So with that, on sale, $4,000 right now. You guys can check it out with the link down in the video description. Now, let's get into our battery. We have a 72 volt 32 amp hour battery, which is small for this bike. Very, very small. We'll pull it out in a minute, but as far as capacity goes, we're not gonna get a whole lot of range, especially in comparison to the newer e-moto models on the market. Now, power, we're rocking 6.5 kilowatts of power, except that they recently released an update which you can do over the air through the NIU app, which we'll show you in a second, that will boost your power up to 10.5 kilowatts. It's really nice that you can do over the air software updates, something I really wish all the other bike manufacturers would really implement, because it would save a lot of headache from companies being able to update throttle tunes and battery efficiency and all these different things that you can optimize with software that we don't have on other models. Let's get into all the other unique things about this bike. Up here we have big moto style DOT levers. However, they are mated to very small calipers. So we've got a small pad, a small brake caliper. These are basically the same brake levers that you get on an Eride Pro SS 3.0 and MX5. They're very, very similar as far as size and power, but being mated to a small caliper, they don't have as much stopping power, and we've felt that as we've been riding it. So that's the brake situation. We also have a tether on this bike, which I, as you can see here, have zip tied to the bar because I don't want to lose this little magnetic thing, because if you lose it, you're walking home. And this could just easily bounce off in a ride. As you can see, it's freaking out right now because I walked away while it was turned off and then I touched it, and that's us getting into the other situation. Is this bike has a built-in alarm, which if you try to touch the bike or move it when it's off, it's gonna freak out at you an alarm. And this does happen a lot in our shop when you're walking around. Even if you like jumped next to the bike, it like will freak out. We have two different keys. We have an NFC key here, another NFC key here. They're just clipped together right now. You just swipe it right here and it will turn the bike on and off. We also have another key which can allow you to open the battery door, but you can also do it while the bike is on. If you flip open this latch, oh, first I want to show you guys something. This is the seat, fully latched, fully intact. Look how loose it is. Like, even the back of it. This is just, that's not cool, NIU. That sucks. I'm just gonna be honest, that sucks. Flip open this latch, there's a button. Push that button, and you wait, and then it pops. And then your seat comes off, and then you have to flip open this latch, then you open it up, then you have to open this up, and then you can pull your battery plug off. And then that is how you charge it. You have to do all of that to charge this bike. You can't just plug it in on the side of the lid like every other e-moto model. I hate that. And then the charger plug, which I might show you guys later, the wire comes out the same direction. So you have to put the charger plug in here, bend the wire, get it to fit right here, and plug it in. It's just really annoying. It's just not a good design. Here, let me pull this battery out so you guys can see the size. This battery, for one, is very large in size, but not in capacity and not in range. I put this battery next to an Eride Pro SS 50 amp hour, 72 volt 50 amp hour, and this is substantially larger in size, and yet it has way less range. So NIU, it's not enough. You gotta get your battery figured out, because people wanna ride further than this bike can go. That's just what it comes down to. I'm not trying to be ultra critical here, but it's not enough range. So let's plug it back in, do the whole reverse step that you gotta do every time you charge. Put this down, and I've done this a lot of times, so I'm fast at it. Grab your seat. You gotta go back here, find the latch, get this thing out of the way, then you can slide it, latch it, and then you pop this down and lock it. And it's still all floppy. But now you say, well, what if I don't have the key to my bike, or it's not on, I can't use the button? You've gotta pop this in, and that will do the same thing as pushing the button and actually pops the seat off. For the wheels, we got a 19-inch rear and a 19-inch front. Very standard compared to most e-motos, although we do have some very heavy-duty off-road tires, which I love to see because, well, most bikes don't have good enough tires, and I have to say, these are great, and they did a great job with them. We are rocking KKE suspension, shock in the rear. It does have a linkage, and we have a KKE front fork. I don't have a ton of time on these specific KKE models, but they feel fine for the amount of power and performance that this bike has. And we'll talk more about that in a second when we go out and do a trail ride. Let's look at our display here. We have a large center display. As you can see, it says park right here, and then you actually have to pull both brakes, push the green button to actually get it into drive. I got to put the kickstand up. There we go. So now you can see ready, has our mile per hour, has our eco mode. Off to the left, I can hit the sport mode switch. Has a little race flag right here. And then it has the S for sport mode. And then this is our battery down the bottom, currently 93%. And then your total odometer on the right, which is at 15 miles. We haven't ridden this bike too much yet. We do got 15 miles on the clock. And then we do have blinkers and turn signals and everything. Like I said, this is a street legalable bike. We do have turn signals back here and a license plate holder, and then the blinkers up here that you activate on this switch on the left. You can go left, right, and you can do hazards. You do also have high beam and low beam on this light, as well as this daytime running front circle. So you get a lot of cool functionality. You can also do a lap timer on this display. You can connect to the app and do those firmware updates like I showed. There's really not much more you can do in the app, but it's nice to have at the end of the day. But that's pretty much the bike. I think we're lacking in foot pegs. Most other brands have really upped their foot peg game, and this one is kind of lacking as well. So there's some good things about this bike, and there's also just some disappointing things. It's just not, in my opinion, up to par with the other e-motos. The ones that cost a little bit more money are substantially faster and more powerful and better. Then there's also bikes that are substantially less money that are just as good as this bike. But I think at the end of the day, you're paying for the VIN and being able to register it and the turn signals and blinkers and all that kind of fancy stuff that I personally don't care about. And so you just have to keep in mind what you want in a bike versus what I want in a bike. So just keep that in mind. I like simplicity. I like a bike, big power, big battery, lots of range, good performance, good suspension, good brakes. I don't care about anything else essentially. All right guys, so after filming that top speed run that you already saw, we realized that to get the increased power, you have to push this button right here. Now I did not know that, which is really interesting because no one told me from NIU when I was complaining that the bike didn't seem to have any more power. They didn't tell me I had to push this button, which previously did something else before the update, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, there was no way for me to know really, because that button literally did another function. So I'm gonna see if it makes any difference here on top speed. I'm kind of doubting that it will. All right, I pushed it. All right, let's see what we got. Well, we got 45.8 miles an hour, which is 0.1 faster than before, so essentially the exact same with the boost button. And to be honest, I can't really tell a difference. If I floor it right now, hit boost, I don't really think it does anything. I mean, I'm sure it's technically doing something, but maybe a little. All right, guys, we're gonna take this NIU on a ride. Now we have 17 miles on the odometer. There goes Romney, and for reference, I have been pinned this whole conversation in sport mode. So he is riding our Talaria Sting MX5 that has an upgraded EBMX X9000 controller. So he's pushing about 15 or 16 kilowatts, and I'm pushing 6.5 unless I push this hyper boost button, which gives me supposedly about 10 kilowatts for 15 seconds. I timed it, and then it has like a 30-second cooldown or something. I didn't time the cooldown, but that's about what it feels like. It's longer than the actual boost, but let's see if the boost makes a difference here. I'm gonna floor it, pushed it. I don't really notice it much, to be honest. Take that with a grain of salt. The boost button just isn't make a whole lot of a difference. And I went and retested the top speed Dang, this rear swing arm is just flexing all over the place. Dang. I don't like this throttle tune. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. We're always honest in our videos, and I'm not trying to really, you know, hurt a company's reputation by being utterly negative. However, we always bring to light things that we notice when we ride these bikes, and we have extensive experience riding every e-moto on the market. I'm getting gnats in my helmet. We got those springtime flies out. The suspension is really soft, so it doesn't feel bad, but if you were to really push the bike hard, it does feel a little off balanced. The front end feels quite heavy, and I don't know, it just kind of feels weird a little bit, you know? And the throttle in sport is really reactive down at the bottom, and then it feels like it kind of does nothing for a lot of the rest of the twist. So if you're riding like something that's slower and more technical, you're gonna probably want to be in eco mode. It's hard to just manage this power. So you're not gonna see a whole lot of riding in this video. We like to ride the bikes off camera and get comfortable on them, get used to them, really analyze how they feel, and then break out the camera. Oh, that got a little weird there. And then break out the camera and actually give our thoughts and feedback, so that we really have a better representation. I know that, you know, 17 miles doesn't sound like a lot of prior riding, but that's like a whole battery worth, and because we ride so many different bikes and models, we can get a really good idea of how a bike feels really quickly. Oh, I literally just have bugs inside my helmet. Oh, just from flying through these swarms of gnats. Now, we're gonna let Romney on this bike now after getting off the MX5. Now that bike has more power, so I'm gonna tell him to try not to think about the power and just think about how the rest of the bike feels, and give you guys his thoughts as a more beginner rider. He is pretty new to the e-motos, but he's ridden a lot of different bikes, so he still has kind of a good representation of how a bike feels. And this is more of a beginner bike with less power, so we're gonna hand the camera over to Romney. He's gonna give it a feel here.
All right, Romney here, just got off the MX5 on the NIU. Gonna take it for a little spin, baby.
Push it hard.
Okay. Well, as you guys probably know, I'm a lot more of a beginner rider than Lance is. So yeah, I'm gonna forget the power difference between this one and the MX5. But, you know, this bike is a little fun guy, you know? It's not crazy. Right off the bat, the brakes are feeling a little weak. The deadband on the throttle is pretty bad compared to the MX5. Like, I have to pull the throttle a lot. The suspension feels very bouncy. There's Lance, a lot faster than me.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, the suspension feels very bouncy, very soft. Just kind of feels like I'm on a bunch of springs and less like a really put together bike. Should I hit the rock? Hit the rock. All right. The pegs, I just noticed the pegs. I'm just wearing tennis shoes right now, and the pegs, excuse me, are very bald, kind of slippery. When I was standing up back there, I slid off a little bit with the bounciness of the trail, so that was a little sketch. I don't know, this bike just feels like it kind of wants to go anywhere. It doesn't really feel very centered. It doesn't feel very like solid. It just feels kind of bouncy and loosey-goosey a little bit. with the suspension and then the slickness of the pegs. The throttle's not bad, but it does have a bit of deadband that I don't like. And like for a beginner rider like me, I feel like the deadband is kind of scary because you pull it and you expect it to go, and then it like, there's not a gradual increase of power. It kind of just hits you all at once. Not that this bike is super powerful, but it just has a very exponential, you know, jump up in power as you pull the throttle.
Okay, I'm back on the MX5 now, and let's see how she feels. I've got it in the lowest power mode so that we can kind of compare it. And I gotta say, already the ergonomics feel better. The suspension is significantly better. Now, the NIU has enough power to ride as fast as I am right now, but I don't feel comfortable doing so on the bike. So that's kind of something that is a good comparison, is that I feel a lot more comfortable pushing this bike hard. The geometry and everything. Now this bike does have a few upgrades, so I'm keeping those in mind in this comparison. So we have some exciting things coming on the channel. There's some more new bike reviews coming that are, to be honest, a lot more exciting than this one is. So stay tuned, you guys, and hit that sub button. Tell your family, tell your friends that they got a chance to win like a really high-end e-moto when we hit 5,000 subs, because we're gonna give another bike away. We already gave away an MX5 just like this one, worth $4,700, and we gave away an Eride 3.0 worth, now the price is just raised because of tariffs. That bike's like $5,800. Someone won that for free. So you guys will have to hit that sub button and then get entered when we do that giveaway.
I've been going around 25 miles an hour the whole time, and I'd say that's about as fast as I want to go on this bike. It feels a little treacherous. So that's my review. This thing is skillywaggy.
It's a little like flexy.
Yeah,
probably, huh?
It's playful, which I don't really love.
Well guys, we're gonna wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Off camera, Romney just gave me some more thoughts on this bike. What'd you say?
I said it feels like it doesn't got me. The MX5 feels like it's got your back and you're like gonna be okay. But riding this thing, it feels really skiwampus and a little like it wants you to crash a little bit, at least on the trail.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt like. It just feels a little floppy, flexy, and obviously this has taller handlebars on it. It's got grippier foot pegs and things like that that do make a difference, but ultimately it's the geometry of the bike and the swing arm and the flexiness. And this bike actually has way less superior tires than this one, and tires make a massive difference when you ride these bikes. When we hop on a bike that has good tires, I mean, it's leagues above a bike, the same bike, with tires that aren't grippy. That's what I meant by I'm kind of scared to push it even half as hard as the MX5, because it feels like you're gonna crash, where the MX5, it feels like it's got you. You can full send it, and you can trust in your automobile here and really put it to the test, huh? Yep. It's not necessarily the bike for us, but it is a good bike for somebody. And I think if you're watching this video, you're gonna know if you're the right person for it. But if you guys are interested in one, check the link down in the video description. It'll be there. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, totally honest, unbiased reviews. We appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button so you guys can enter that giveaway that's coming in the future. Catch you next time. See ya.